Hi friends, welcome to another weekly video brought to you by dataplatformcentral.com. In this week, we are going to look into a DAX tip. One of the common scenarios that you might have come across in any of your programming languages is what is known as islands and gaps problem. You will have a continuous streak of values which can be either statuses or categories, and there will be a sudden change in the status, and you are required to calculate some measure which is associated to this status. A typical example is, let's have a case of a machine which is in a production scenario. You have a machine which is going through different stages, so it might be operating at some points in between it will be stopped. It might be a planned stop, it might be a maintenance stop, it might be a fueling stop. So you might have to calculate the operating times of these machines. So there might be some kind of sensors which will capture this data from the operating machine. So when you look at the data that is being captured, you will have the times when the status gets captured and the status against that. So machine A time captured would be a time, and then the status which would be either operating or stopped or maintenance or refueling, etc. And the intention would be to calculate the total downtime or a total operating time based on your scenarios. So these are a typical case of an island and gap scenario. So like from each of the time when the machine starts till the next stop, we have to calculate the operating time, or the vice versa for downtime calculation. So this is a typical scenario, and let's see how we can solve such a scenario using DAX functions inside your Power BI. For the sake of this demo, we are going to use a sample sheet like this, which is kind of a machine register data. So this consists of the data which is captured based on the operational status of the machine. So you can see the machine name here. So we are taking two sample machines, machine A and machine B, and we have the time captured, the time at which the sensor captured the status, and also the current status. So at 9 AM on 1st June 2021, the machine was in operating state. It became stopped at 5 o'clock evening. 6 o'clock it again started operating. Then night 2 o'clock it was maintenance starting, so that means the machine was in stop condition. By 4 o'clock the maintenance was done, and again by 7 o'clock it again started operating. Then at 12 o'clock again stopped, like that, different scenarios. And there are cases where you can see for example, see this B, it is at 3:15 operating, again at 20:15 also it's operating. So there can be a chance like there will be multiple continuous consecutive same statuses. So this means that a sensor ran at 8 o'clock, and that time also the previous cycle was not over. So such entries can also be possible. So this is a case of a typical machine register data. So this is a typical example of islands and gaps problem, like from once started till the next time it is stopped. Till that point we can identify it as an island, and then there will be some gaps, like at 5 o'clock there was a gap, then at 2 o'clock there was a gap. So this is a typical case of an islands and gaps problem. So let's first get this onto a Power BI sheet, and let's see how we can apply DAX for solving this scenario and calculating the total operational time of a machine. The first step would be to obviously get the data onto a Power BI sheet. So we have actually loaded a sheet with the data that is from the machine register. So if you take a table and just try putting this data, we will get the same data that we have been seeing in that sheet. So we have now transferred this data to a Power BI. Now let's see how we are going to use this data to calculate the operating time. So of course, for the operating time, for any kind of islands and gaps problem, the first step would be to find out the minimum time or the next available time when the status changes. So if you see, for example, we have for machine A starting at 1st June 9 AM it's operating, and the next stopping was at 5. So what you need to do is, like, for every started stage, every stage where the machine is in operation, we have to get the corresponding next stop date, so that we can find out the operating duration. If we find out the date which is associated with the next stoppage, for every start point we will be able to calculate the duration from that start point till the next stoppage. So that will give us our first step. Once we get this, then we can apply some kind of aggregation on top of it using the machine to get the total operational time at the machine level. So let's go ahead and add a measure which is going to give us the next stop date for every starting point of your machine. So let's go to the sheet and let's go and add a new measure. So we are going to name this measure as next stop. So this is going to give us the next stop date. So what we need to do here, we need to iterate through each of the rows starting from the current row onwards forward. So we need to consider the next row onwards and go all the way until we get a row where we have a difference in status. This is required because we want to handle cases like this. See, we have two operating coming one after the other. In such cases, we need to capture after every day, we need to capture the next day where the status changes. So for 3:15, the next stoppage is at 11:45, and for 8:15 also it's 11:45, and that is how we need to capture it so as to solve this iron and gaps problem. So let's start. So what would be, of course we would require in DAX some kind of an iterator because we need to iterate through each of the rows. So what we need to do is like we need to use a iterator like min-x. We are going to use min-x because we are looking at the minimum date which is coming after the current date with a difference in status. And when we are applying a min-x, of course we have to define a table. So what is our table? Our table would be the full table which is the sheet 1, but we don't require calculating this for all the rows. We require calculating this for only the rows which are representing the operational status of the machine, which means the status should be either operating or it should be maintenance stop. So maintenance stop also means that the machine has started operational. So either of these two should be the status. So what we need to do is that we need to filter on the table and we need to apply these two statuses. And one more thing we need to consider here is that we need to apply all because we have to consider the full table. When we call the measure will get called from the filter context. So at the filter context, when you consider, there will be only that single row which is in the current context. So in order to make sure that we are considering the complete table, we need to apply all to clear off the current context. So every time it will start with the entire table when you apply this filter, and we need to apply the condition where the status is one of operating or maintenance stop. So we can apply a condition like, so it should be filter of all of sheet. Again we are considering the full table, and one more thing is that it should be the same machine. So we need to first consider that the current context machine will be the machine. That means we will only consider those entries which are relevant for the current machine, because when you are looking for machine A, it should be A itself, it should not go to other machine. So for that purpose we look at machine equal to machine, then the time captured should be greater than the current context. So for every row we will consider all rows which are after that, because we need to find out the subsequent date, and then the status should be maintenance start or maintenance or stopped or refuel. And one more thing we need to consider here is that we need to make sure that the current row that we are considering is only the operating rows. Otherwise what will happen, it will even consider the stopped rows and try to find out. That is not necessary, because we are looking at the operational time. For operational time, it should always start from one of those operational statuses till the next stoppage status. So we need to add that condition also to make sure that the current context row is one of operating or maintenance. So now if you see the conditions, we have the machine condition added here, the time captured condition added here, to make sure that the upcoming status is one of the stopped status and the current status is one of the running status. Now the filter is done and also the calculation is also done. So now if you run this, your next stop date will be created, and now if you drag and drop that date also inside this, side by side with your time captured, you will get the next stop. Automatically you will get only the entries for the operational status. So from 9:01 the next stoppage was at 5:02 p.m. So if you compare it with your Excel sheet, you can see that after 9:01 it was 5:02 p.m. Then 6:32 night 2:04, next day of night 2:04. So if you come back and check your sheet, it will be again correct, 6:32 night 2:04. Then from night 4:05 to early morning 4:05 to 12:06 p.m. Again if you check the Excel, it will be from 4 to 12/6. See, again in between you have the operational data coming, but that is not the correct one. That is again the same status, it's still in the operational status. So the next non-operating status is 12/6, which is what you are getting. So that means that what you are getting here is the correct next stop date, and it is repeating for the every one of those operating dates. So like this, see, maintenance stop also you get the 12/06, again the next operating date also you get the 12/06. So this is the first step. You have got the next stoppage date. Now what you need to do is you need to find out the duration between these two dates. So when you get the duration between these two dates, you will get the operational time during this period. Like this you have to repeat. Let's add one more measure where I am going to copy the existing measure and then add something to that. So this I am going to make it like operating time, and I am going to copy the same expression that we used for next stop to start off. Then we will be doing some addition to that. So I am putting the next stop here itself, and I am putting it. So now if I drag and drop this also near to it, you will get the same value, of course, because both of them are having the same status. Now let's concentrate on the operating time. So you already got the next date. Now we need to get the duration between this and the previous one. So for that, what we can use is we can use a date. So this would be the next date. The current date would be the date in the current context. So that you can get by applying a max over your date field. And the third one would be minute, the duration. So you are calculating the duration in minutes. Now if you try to drag and check the operating time, you are getting the time correctly. So from 9 till the next stop, it is at 5 p.m. So from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. 8 hours, which comes to 8 hours. So 8 into 60 is 480, plus there is 1 minute difference. So from 9:01 to 5:02, that's why 481. So that's correct. Similarly from 6 to 2 also it's 8 hours. So again 481. Similarly if you see this 8:39 to 4:10, so 8:39 to 3:39 would be 7 hours. 7 hours is 420. 420 plus 1 minute more to make it 340. From 340 to 410 it's half an hour. So it is 421 plus 30, which is 451. So what you are getting here is the correct operational time. So individually for each of the rows you have got the correct operational time. Now the question is how you can aggregate it, so that when you look at it from a machine perspective rather than at the date level, you will get the correct value. So for that purpose, all you need to do is like to apply some kind of an aggregation on top of it so as to sum it. So we can make use of aggregation like SumX. So let's apply a SumX on top of that. The table has to be passed. So once you apply the SumX, you expect that the aggregation should work properly. Now if you go and remove the dates, so that becomes a problem. See, the moment you remove the other columns and keep only the machine, the operational time will not work. What you expected was to get the aggregate, but the moment you remove the dates, you will lose that. This is because you are making use of the dates for iterating through the value. So unless it has a date value to iterate through, it can't calculate it properly. Because you require a date for iterating through and calculating these values, what you need to do is like you need to add a derived table. So once you add a derived table, and which will have the date always, and when you calculate these values based on the date, you will get the individual values. And once you add the derived table with the calculated values, then on top of that you can summarize that table further based on the machine level, and then it will work fine. So let's see how we can do that. So if you go back to our operational time, if you see, we are just summating the value, the dative value. But now what you need to do is like instead of directly summating it at the row level, we have to first create a calculated table which will always calculate this value and keep it as the machine and the date level. And then from that table, if you further aggregate it at the machine level, then you will be able to get the value correctly. So what we are doing here is we have added a derived table. Now we have included that our earlier expression as a column inside the table. So we are using summarize, and we are just aggregating the current table based on the machine name and also based on the date values, individual date values, and then we are calculating for each of those values this expression, the expression that we have given previously, which will give us the total duration. So this will make sure that it automatically pre-creates a table which consists of every row having the machine, the date and the calculated value, which is similar as our earlier result set, the result set that we see in that sheet. Now we are just storing it as a temporary result set inside a table. Now what you need to do is, on top of this table we need to now apply the summarization. So we are going to add the measure name as total operational time, and total operational time, inside that we are applying a sumx, and on the sumx we are actually filtering this table. We already got the summarized table. We are applying a filter in such a way that we only look for those machines which are corresponding to the current machine. So for getting the current machine, you can use max of. So this will take the machine in the current context, and it will filter this summarized table to get us only those entries which corresponds to the current machine. So now the table contains for every machine, for every dates, the calculated value, which is the difference between the current date and the next stoppage date, which we already saw. And this will filter out of that those entries which belongs to the current machine. So now that we have only the entries of the current machine, which has every date and also the next stoppage date, also with the difference calculated, you just need to sum on top of this. And what is the field that we need to sumx? We need to sum on this operating time. This is the field which gives us the calculation between current date and the next stoppage date. So once you do this, now you will get the complete iteration. So if you now create this measure, nothing is going to happen now, because you still have the dates here, but the moment you take this time capture out of it, it will still work fine. See, you will get the total. It works even when you added the date or even when you don't add the date. So even now if I add the date back, it will automatically give the split ups based on that. So you can see both of it. So A, if you see, so we have 481 into 3 plus 451 into 2 plus 458 plus 301. So that will give you 3104. This was exactly the total that you got. Similarly for B, if you see, it is 505 plus 510 plus 510, that makes it 1020, 1525, 1225 plus 210, that will be 1735. That will be your total. So if I take this out, it will still be 1735 and 304. The total is not relevant here, so you can, if you want, you can take it out. That will give you the total operational time corresponding to each of these machines. So this is a typical example of an islands and gap problem, and we already saw how we can solve it by forming that derived table. Then we apply on top of that a filter to get the corresponding rows for each of our required values, in this case the machine, and then we apply the final aggregation on top of it to make sure that we are aggregating at the machine level and it still works with or without the date column. Hope this quick demo helped you to understand how you can handle such islands and gaps scenario in DAX using a derived table approach. There are multiple real-time project scenarios where you can apply this kind of a logic, and this is one of the typical project scenario that you come across. The operational time, the downtime, etc. of equipment whose time has been constantly sensing by means of a sensor instrument. As usual, let me know your comments and feel free to follow my channel. Subscribe to my channel for getting useful tips like this in future, and click on bell icon to get the notifications. Catch you all soon with another useful tip next week. Till then, bye and thanks for your time.